What's going on, everybody? This is Trey with GuitarAndVideoGames.com, and today in this video we're going to look at the PlayStation 5, just kind of look at the startup sequence, as well as kind of going through the user interface, some of the key highlights, some of the changes, some of the new additions, kind of see what's different between the PS4 and the PS5, kind of what's changed, what hasn't, if anything at all, and what we'll do. I'm going to go ahead and power it up, and then we'll jump on in. Now, I will say, as this is powering up here, I was going to do just an initial, like literally from right out of the box, plug it in, capture everything, kind of that way you can kind of see just the setup process and all that good stuff. But I forgot that on the PlayStation, you do have to disable the HDCP feature, or that setting. You do have to disable it to be able to get output from the PlayStation to a capture device that I'm using to capture this video here that you're seeing. So unfortunately with that, I wasn't able to get all of that. So at least you get to see the startup, just kind of some of the differences. I really like the speckling and stuff that they have going on with that. Hey guys, I did want to mention one thing. So the PlayStation the video is just going to be video only. With the voiceover. Unfortunately, the sound coming from the PlayStation, or at least the feed that I was getting, was crackling and there's some weird static going on. So I did have to mute that so that there wasn't that annoyance going throughout the entirety of the video. But at least wanted to mention that there's some nice background noises and sounds and music and stuff like that does occur in the console. I just unfortunately had to mute that. So that way you guys didn't go crazy while watching the video. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump back into the video. Hope you guys enjoy. So we're here at the user profile login. And then, so with this, you can set that in the settings to where it automatically logs in for you. Or if you have multiple users, excuse me, then you can set it to where, just like this, where you can then be able to log into multiple users here. So we'll just jump on in here. All right, so what we'll do here, so this is kind of the main screen or the main UI that you'll go into with the PS5. Kind of like the PS4 a little bit. They really like this, setting everything up in a row that just goes kind of from left to right, or right to left if you prefer. But they kind of like this design here, where just everything is in this kind of this bar, and then as you highlight certain things, then it kind of brings information down below it. The PlayStation 4 did have that. They've kind of taken a little bit of a different visual cue with this to kind of change up the look and feel of it. Now, we'll say what we will do, here if we go to the PlayStation Store, one thing I do like is they have now kind of brought it more to the surface. It's no longer really an app that you go into so much as it's now you just literally just move over to it and then you're pretty much right into the store. So if we kind of go down, you can see a couple different tabs here: latest collections, subscriptions, a browse option as well. And then as we go down here, you can see different things, kind of games, kind of what's hot, coming soon games, which of course right now everything I've looked at so far on the store, as I spent some time just kind of going through the user interface, everything is showing just announced, if it hasn't already released at least. So no excitement there, and we all know Horizon Forbidden West is going to be sometime next year. So, for example, and of course they do highlight kind of like monthly picks and stuff like that. I would imagine this will be a rotating, so they might have, genre specific things that they're doing, but right now they're focusing on the monthly picks here, as well as some new games. And now one thing I will say with this, we'll stop here for a moment. They're still doing that, everything in this row, and you got to go left to right. I noticed Microsoft kind of took that approach with their storefront with certain things, at least once you get into certain areas of their storefront, and you kind of got to go left to right. If we go all the way to the right here, there is a view all option. One thing I wish they did, the Xbox you do have where you can hit like I believe it's the X button, and then it already takes you into the view the whole list, or the view all. They don't really have that with the PlayStation 5. I kind of wish they did. Definitely something they could do, down the line with a software update or something. But right now you do have to literally just scroll all the way over, hit view all. But I do like the new look and feel of this. I know sometimes one issue I had with the PlayStation 4 was at the storefront for me, sometimes information got lost, especially with certain backgrounds, certain wallpapers behind there. When you would view a list of games, you'd see the little icon, the title, sometimes a little synopsis or something, the price. I've noticed sometimes even the price, it would just like disappear based on whatever the background was. And so it was not the most legible at times on the PS4. So I do like that they went this route with these huge squares showing the game. Kind of reminds me of how the Xbox, if you go into like your games section there on the Xbox, they kind of do this where it's just a big block and this is the game, and then you can click on it and get more information. But at least wanted to show this because I do like that is a feature of the storefront that I do like. It's a little more legible, a little bit easier to read, and obviously, again, you can click on the game and it'll bring up all the information about it, the price, where you can go in and purchase it. And whatnot. We'll go ahead and back out here. I will mention this. They do have this across all of these, so the latest collections, subscriptions. They do have this across the bottom here. Basically, it's just a place where you can go. Obviously, you can see here, you click on this, PS5 games, basically everything that's just more focused to the PS5 or unique to the PS5. As far as that, of course, PS4 games, which, we know pretty much 99 point some odd percent of games. I think I've heard maybe there's like 4 or 5 games that I've heard specifically that don't work on the PlayStation 5. So obviously they have a place here that way, because this generation, thankfully they did do another push into some backwards compatibility, at least with PlayStation 4. And so with this, you have access to just, some of the PS4 games, as well as free to play. And then they did kind of focus on VR. It's funny they do this because right now, at least as of the filming of this, I have not seen any indication as to how you exactly go about, or at least the process as to how you exactly go about getting the adapter cable. Because one thing to note, for those that have gotten the 3D camera or the camera that they're making for the PS5, you cannot do PSVR with that. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work. I don't know. It could be that they could build the functionality where it could be utilized down the road. Right now, it is just for like live streaming. So you do need to have your PSVR, your camera that you've been using like on your PlayStation 4. You do need that for your PSVR because the new one will not work. So with that, there is an adapter cable that you do have to get. They're not selling it in stores, but they have said that there is, a way to get it. You'll be able to get one, but right now there hasn't been any concrete information as to exactly how you go about that process. My assumption is probably what they'll do is where you provide maybe a place where you provide your serial number for your PSVR and then they send you one or something for, maybe shipping and handling. Hey guys, I do want to mention one thing. I know in the video we're talking about the PlayStation VR and how the PlayStation 5 requires an adapter cable to be able to work with your PSVR setup. I know I mentioned in the video that there wasn't really any information as far as how you go about getting that cable, but after recording this, I did find a website that you can go to. All you got to do is just provide the serial number for your PlayStation VR, and then Sony will actually send you an adapter cable. But I at least wanted to mention that there is a means or a process with which you can get that adapter cable. That way you can use your PSVR on your PS5. I will provide that website link in the description below. But with that, let's go ahead and jump back into the video. So as far as that, I mean, the storefront, I do like how they have brought it a little bit more to the surface, so it doesn't feel like it's an app that you have to go into. It's just kind of there, which is really nice. So what we'll do, we'll back out of here. Now the Explore, it's just kind of different things. Actually, earlier when I was on here, this, what is it, Sims 4 was not on there, so it's new. It's kind of basically their place to, new news and new updates or new bits of information that they can push out to you. And so that way you can just kind of go through and see different things. Of course, it's just kind of an official news area for developers to I guess put updates or say, hey, new DLC is out, go get it, go give us your money, and all that stuff. Right here, if we go next one down below it, is kind of an area for live broadcasts that we can kind of just go through and just kind of click on some live, watch some people that are streaming games and whatnot as far as that. Pretty straightforward. And again, most of this stuff, we've seen on the PS4 in one form of fashion or one way or another, but it's, kind of different. And some of it, jury's still out on if I prefer this over the way we had it in the PS4. I think some things for me, it's just different. And so it's just taking some time getting used to the slight tweak or the slight change or difference in how you get to said information. All right, so this is the PlayStation Plus, and so what this is, so for those who don't know, which maybe nobody, but the PlayStation Plus collection is for anybody that is a paid PlayStation Plus subscriber. You do have access to quite a few PlayStation 4 games that they have added to this, what they're calling this PS Plus collection. Now, this is unique to just the PlayStation 5. It is not available on the PS4, even though they are PS4 games. They have added this as just a feature that is unique to this generation of console. Now, if they add it down the road, to PS4, I don't know. If I were you, I wouldn't hold my breath for it. But I mean, it's definitely something they could do because it is more of a feature within your PlayStation Plus paid membership. Kind of my take on it is it's their attempt at, giving some competition to Game Pass. I know, albeit to whether it really is competition, I don't know, because right now it is still a new thing, so we got to give them the benefit of the doubt here that they don't have a lot, whereas I know Microsoft has been really pushing Game Pass hard and heavy for quite a while now. This is new to the PS5, so over time this will build and bloom, and we'll have more games there. So if we go over here, so now we are down in this Explore section. So that's what we're seeing is this PlayStation Plus collection. So if we go into it, we'd have access to a list of those games that we could download for free on our PlayStation 5 as long as we're a paid PlayStation Plus member. So if we go over here, so right now they are doing, for any PS5 owners through PlayStation Plus, of course, they are giving Bug Snacks away for free. I know it's one of those games that's, some people are like, really, it looked good. Some are just like, I don't know. I mean, hey, let's be honest. Free is free, right? So they are doing this till January 4th of 2021. So you got a little bit of time, not long, but so definitely make sure at least you add it to your library, if anything else. I mean, if you're not going to ever play it, I recommend at least adding it to your library. That way, if you ever get a whim, then you're not having to spend some money on it. Because again, free is free. So what we'll do, I'm going to go over here. So here we can see the PlayStation 4 monthly games. So of course, with PlayStation Plus, you do get 2 free games a month. And so this month, it is the Middle-earth Shadow of War, and then the Hollow Knight Void Heart Edition. Almost could not get that out of my mouth. And so with that, these are the PS4 monthly games that you get for free with your PlayStation Plus subscription, of course. And so with that, again, since 99 point some odd % are playable on the PlayStation 5, then, of course, these are accessible to download right to your PlayStation 5. Of course, with PlayStation Plus, you do get exclusive discounts on games and DLC and whatnot. So they have access to that, as well as, the exclusive perks. Really, this tab, if you will, is more your PlayStation Plus home front, where you got access to everything. So of course we see here are the PlayStation Plus collection and some of the games here, and we can go in and view the rest. Now this is a new feature. The kind of that's the hints or tips and tricks and whatnot. This is new to the PlayStation 5, a new feature within their user interface, where if you're stuck in a game or you're stuck in a spot, then you can get little tips or tricks or how to get past a certain point and stuff like that. So they are just kind of going through and showing that you can kind of view games you played and stuff like that, and kind of see, especially if it's like, I don't know how to get past this part, you can kind of go in and see. So that's kind of their game help section. But again, this is the PlayStation Plus tab, if you could call it a tab, on that. Next here, we got the media gallery. And so this is kind of where all your videos, snap, or your clips and whatnot, my brain stopped. All of that stuff, your screenshots, videos, and all that stuff, kind of go into here. This is where you can kind of see what all you've got there, kind of manage them, delete what you don't want and all that stuff, or share out, to friends or to a couple of different places. I think like YouTube and Twitter and stuff like that. Some of that. They do have where your trophies, they do record a video and take a little screenshot. So that is something to be aware of, because pretty much every trophy I've gotten, for the most part, I've had a little video snippet and a screenshot taken. Not all of them, but a lot of them, I will say. So with that, you definitely want to make sure you can go into settings and disable that if you want. So definitely keep an eye on that, because it could, we all know, with 875 gigs, well, really 667 usable gigs, PlayStation 5 owners are going to be doing a lot of micromanagement of data right now, at least until they give us the official list of the SSDs, the M.2 SSDs that are compatible. And but again, the ones that are done from trophies, you can disable, so it's not a hard-coded thing where you're just stuck having to constantly go in every so often and delete those. You can disable that in settings. And I'll show you where in a little bit here once we hit that point. So we'll just back out here. And obviously, as you can see, it's kind of moving. These two stay in their own spots. But then as it is, just like the PlayStation 4, whatever your most recent used app or game is, it kind of moves to that, we'll just say leftmost position. So this is just one of the games I got. Of course, I did talk myself into getting the deluxe of the Spider-Man Miles Morales, just because I really wanted to have that Spider-Man remastered there. So again, if we highlight this, again, kind of like the PS4 did this, where when you go to a game, you can kind of, just go down to different features or bits of information or certain things like that, pertinent to the game. So, of course, I've got a couple games already. They do remote play as well. I know this is something that they did start doing on the PlayStation 4. I know, like with your PC and your PS4 or different things like that. So I did try this on the console itself the other night. Worked pretty well. Of course, your network setting, or how good your network is within your house, let's just say it that way, will determine how, let's just say, how efficient it is to do this, rather than if you still have a PS4, than just turning on your PS4. I did notice some, I didn't do this much with the PlayStation 4. Now, I will say I did notice some degradation in video quality or gameplay quality. Didn't really notice, for at least for me, with my network setup, I didn't notice much in the way of lag, so much as just slight, ever so slight pixelation, which I don't know. I can't speak to the PS4 because as far as doing the remote play with that, like on your PC too, with your PS4 and whatnot, I didn't really mess with that too much, so I can't speak to how. If on the PS5 has gotten better or has stayed the same, I guess I wouldn't say worse. I mean, hopefully it wouldn't have gotten worse, but, just nice to see, there. So this is the PlayStation Now, for those, if any of those that are subscribing to the PlayStation Now service, of course you can just kind of get in here and see, some of the games that are offered within that, their recommendations and different ones, for there. All right. And then last here, we do have the game library. Of course, this is just like we've seen on the PlayStation 4 pretty much. It is a little more simplified because I know with the PS4, when you go to your library, it's like your library. Then you have like games and apps and this and that and yada, 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 yada. This is just your game library. So when you go all the way over here to the far right of this row, then you do have just your games. So these are pretty much all the games in this case. So like in your collection, these are all the games that that I have. And of course, there is one of the few, I will say, games that are not playable on the PlayStation 5. But this is pretty much all the games. Of course, just like we could in the PS4. Sorry, I went too far. We can see what's installed on the system. Now this will show some of the apps, more or less built-in apps like Remote Play, Media Gallery, PlayStation Now, but these are all more game-centric apps, and I'll show you in a little bit what I mean by that. So that's everything there, and then everything on your PlayStation Plus, and then we do have the PlayStation Now tab here within this as well. So that's pretty much this here. What we'll do, so we do see up here in the top left, games and media. So this is kind of our games tab. I mean, it's really the best way of describing it, I guess. You have your games tab and then your media. So if we go to media here, this is going to be more your apps. So like Disney Plus, Netflix, YouTube, Twitch, Prime Video. They do have Apple TV for the Apple TV Plus subscribers and all that, but that's where you get to your TV and video apps and whatnot. So, of course, they do. It's kind of nice. They do have that same aesthetic as far as having just the larger squares or the icons for the apps and stuff there. One nice thing is you don't have to go up here, so you can just hit so like here I'm on the game section here, I can just hit the R1 button and it'll tab over to the media, and I can just hit the L1 to go back to games as well. I will say one thing that did it had me a little confused because I kept just wanting to go, or I kept looking for that section, is like when I'm in the home, how do I power this thing off? Or put it into sleep mode. And so on the PS4, you did have just above this row here, we did have various things like for our friends list, profile, all of that stuff, trophies, settings, all that. So they have actually moved that into another section, if you will, or a little pop-up section that comes into the system. So if you hit the PlayStation button there on the center of the controller, you actually get this bar that comes across the top, or across the bottom rather, of the machine of the user interface. And so with that, we do have, so they do, the media gallery as well as this kind of the news and updates and stuff. They have that. But down here, we do have a couple different things here. So obviously home, if you're in a game, you just hit the PlayStation button, hit home, and you go back to your home screen. Switcher, now I will say, I tried a couple things with this because Switcher, there was some theories that maybe this would be like PlayStation's or Sony's answer to the quick resume feature on the Series X and the Series S for Microsoft. It unfortunately isn't. With the PlayStation, it actually closes a game. So if you're so in this case, like we'll just say Astro's Playroom and you wanted to go to Bugsnax, it would close Astro's Playroom, so that game would close, or that app would close, and then Bugsnax would open. So there isn't really a quick resume feature so much as this is within this portion of the interface. It's more of a quick access, to just some of your recent games and stuff that you played. Just want to make sure my recording was still going. Had it cut out on me earlier, and we're good. All right, so what we'll do, we'll go here. So obviously notifications, your notifications. So updates on your downloads, if friends send you a message, any of that stuff, trophies, same thing as what we've had on the PlayStation 4. And then here, your game base. So what game base is more like your friends list, parties, stuff like that. So if we click on this, it would have basically any friends that are online, as far as that, any parties you're in and stuff like that, if you're in a party and stuff there. And so as far as that, it's just kind of your, basically that friends section of your user interface, or like on the PlayStation 4 on that. Yeah, of course, it's kind of nice. There's a quick action there. So if I hit the square there, I could create a party and just kind of go right in, invite my friends, and join in there. Next, we have sound. This is kind of just more quick settings for some of the sound stuff. So basically just prioritizing sound, quick access to sound settings, if you will. This next one is your mic settings. Basically, it's quick access here. If you wanted to change, so say you had the camera and you were using that or a headset and you wanted to switch over to the controller for whatever reason, or you're on it was doing the mic on the controller and you want to switch over to the mic on your headset, you could change it here, as well as just quick access to muting and adjusting the levels there. This here is your accessories. So of course, right now, the only thing I have is a wireless controller. So that's the only thing showing up there. But this just kind of shows quick access to any of your accessories and the battery condition, or the level of the battery. And then this is just your, so basically this is just your profile information. So quick access to online status. So of course, if you're playing a single player game, you don't want to be bothered. You can set it to busy, pure offline. Of course, profile, you can kind of go into there. A lot of the same information, laid out a little differently, but really a lot of the same information that we've known from the PlayStation 4. So as far as that, just kind of overview, games played, friends list. If you shared anything, it would show up there, and all that. All right, and then of course, trophies. If you have multiple users, you can switch users at this point here, or just log out of your user. I've only got one, so that's kind of it. And then power. So this would be where you either enter rest mode, turn off the PlayStation 5 if you have to unplug it, restart it for whatever reason. Real quickly, we'll go through the settings here, and then really a lot of it's same basic stuff. They have some accessibility settings. So for those that might need certain settings to make it more the console more accessible, or gameplay more accessible, you can kind of go in here and change that. Network, all that's this. What we'll do, I do want to go into system real quick, because with the initial setup, I didn't do this because I still utilize my PS4 for other things. So with that, the data transfer option here under system software, under the settings here, will allow you to connect your PS4 to your PS5. That way you can basically transfer from device to device, any game data, game saves, all of that stuff. That way you don't have to re-download a lot of your game data and stuff like that, or you can even get this game saves over to the PS5 just straight from your PS4. And so that was kind of nice. It does. Now, when you go through the initial setup, there is a moment where it does ask if you want to do that. I didn't. I opted. I just wanted to get right into to using the system, just kind of checking it out. Maybe something I might do down the road if I utilize more PS4 games on the system. Right now, I'm just gonna keep it strictly for PlayStation 5 unique games here. Now, we'll mention this because I'd mentioned it earlier at the very beginning of the video. Now, they enable HDCP. Almost could not get that out of my mouth. This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. So this is where, for those of you wanting to stream, now I'm sure a lot of you probably have already run into this, where you got your PS4, plugged it up to a capture card, went into OBS or whatever software you utilize, and then it just wasn't giving you any video whatsoever. So what this does is it's all because of the HDCP settings. So basically it's just the digital copy protection. And so what you have to do is you have to go in and disable that, which I'm sure a lot of you guys that did stream stuff from PS4 had found that out, or at least had found that to be the case. So you do have to make sure you do disable that. And that's unfortunately why I know I mentioned that I wanted to get just literally the full gamut of the right out of the box, plugging it in, and then just the whole setup. I forgot about this, so of course it just wasn't giving me any video until I went in, set up the system, went in, and then disabled the HDCP. So again, just make sure when you want to stream games, you disable that. So go into System under HDMI, enable HDCP. So just make sure you toggle that off. When you're done, if you do utilize video apps like YouTube, Netflix, the whole lot, make sure you do enable that once you're done. That way those apps can work. Otherwise you won't be able to get video and stuff like that just because of the way that copy protection works. So again, I want to mention that because I know I had a couple questions regarding that. And with getting video output from the PlayStation 5. So I at least wanted to bring that to your attention. Of course, so same thing, language, date and time, some remote play. So this, I believe, I haven't really gotten into this specifically because it's not necessarily, it wasn't the remote play with the PS5 to PS4. So I think what this is like if you're doing like with your PC or something like that, or with another device, a mobile device or something. This is where you would go in and kind of set up that, as well as your power save settings, web browser settings. So, of course, a lot of the basics that you see on some of these devices, but I do like that they have the prevent cross-site tracking. So this I know because it's kind of a data privacy is such a thing nowadays. Because I know myself, I would rather not have sites be like, oh, because you were over here searching such and such, we're going to promote this as an ad on this other site that you're on. I don't need it. Please don't, So I know that it's such a thing. It is nice to see that they do have this on the PlayStation. That way you can at least toggle that. If you like being tracked, you can totally disable it. So it's just a feature there. So I definitely at least wanted to bring that up. It is nice that they did have that that setting there. Of course, storage. Here you can see there in the top right corner that 667.2 gigs of usable data or storage. So of course, as we all know, or some of you may not know, you do not get a full terabyte drive in the PlayStation. So what they are doing, they're not utilizing just like an M.2 SSD. The storage, the flash-based storage, is actually soldered to the motherboard on the PlayStation 5. And so with that, for whatever reason, they just, I'm assuming just engineering reasons with engineering that motherboard and the layout and stuff like that. They just went with 875 gigs versus giving us a full terabyte. So as far as that, because of that 875, we only get, and obviously the system is, the software and the user interface and all that stuff is using some storage. So with that, we only have 667 gigs usable. And so I know one thing I saw, I looked at, because I got the Spider-Man Miles Morales Deluxe Edition. So technically that is 2 games, because you get the Spider-Man Remastered and the Spider-Man Miles Morales game, which isn't really a full game, but it's more like a expansion, I guess, let's just call it what it is. The back of the box for that at least says minimum of 105 gigs. And so we can see with 667 gigs, I can only really get that on there, 6 times. And so it really is going to be one of those things where you're going to have to kind of watch your data usage or your storage usage. Sorry, I'm talking about this like it's a cell phone. So you really have to watch your storage usage right now, especially till we get the official list of M.2 drives that are compatible with the PlayStation 5. Because I did hear, and I believe it was for the PlayStation 5, if memory serves, that the Call of Duty Cold War needs like 130 gigs. So, I mean, that alone, I mean, if you did you did the deluxe edition of the Miles Morales, so you got the 2 games there, and then you did like Cold War, I mean, you're eating into your storage already. So with that, I definitely just want to make mention that, with this, the data management is going to be, storage management is going to be a thing, at least for the time being. I know Microsoft has said something about where on any of their games that you do the Series X upgrade, you have to play it on the internal drive. PlayStation 5 is the same way. And I know Microsoft has said where you can, if you do need internal space for another game, then you can at least move a game, one of your Series X optimized games, to an external drive. That way you can free up space on the internal drive for whatever you might be playing at that time. And then move it back, so you can kind of swap back and forth those games with an external drive and your internal drive on the Xbox. Unfortunately, Sony didn't take that approach, or at least hasn't yet. So with that, you can't move PlayStation 5 games to an external storage device right now. Again, definitely something they can patch via software. Because it's just literally moving data to let it just sit on an external drive. That way you can free up internal storage to to be able to get another game on there that you might be playing at the current moment. Because it would be nice, at least I would say it would be nice to see Sony do this, because I know even in 2020, broadband internet is still a struggle for some in some areas of the country. It's sad to say. Or a sad statement to say in 2020, but that is sadly still the case. So it would be nice to see them add this feature. That way, once you get it downloaded after taking a month, for some people it might feel like that. But once you do get it downloaded, at least you could move it to an external storage just to free up your internal space to get whatever game on there that you're playing at the moment, and then you can just kind of move them back and forth. Hopefully, again, not hard. More than likely, honestly, it's just a software tweak. So something that could be coded into the system, to be honest, because it's just simple data moving data back and forth as far as that. But I will say, as of right now, it's not currently available at the moment, and I do believe they mentioned something to the effect of it might be coming down the line. I know there are some things that aren't quite available that they had been talking about that are going to be patched into the system. I know that's kind of a bad way of saying it. Sounds like they're just like, well, we'll just ship them and then we'll fix it after. I know we've been living that world with a lot of games, really since really some of the 360 games I think were that way. You have day one patches. Not really the case with that, but it's more just, I think, more stuff on their end that they're just getting squared away before they add that implementation to the console. But that is one, and at least wanted to make mention of that, because I know if you're like me, I play a ton of different types of games, and so storage management could become a thing real quickly for me there. So we'll just kind of back up here. what we'll do, so of course sound, just kind of that screen and video, just kind of gives you your settings for your video output, so your resolution. Right now the TV I'm doing it's a 1080p TV, my 4K is in the other room, but where I'm capturing, or at least where my computer is for capturing the stuff, I just have a 1080p here. And so I've just got it set here. But again, here you can kind of go through and change all your settings for that, as well as adjusting like display area. So, if you need to kind of shrink the image to fit the border of your TV, you can do that as well, and whatnot. And then, of course, just a lot of the same stuff here. Accessories, you can go and make accessory tweaks and setting tweaks and stuff like that. I do want to mention this here, the save data and game app settings. So with that, there is obviously save data here. So, I mean, you can go in and kind of back up we'll just say back up your save data to, either cloud storage or whatnot.
Scotty needs us, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing gonna stop us. Back it up. Back it up slow. Yeah. Gotta just back it up. Yeah. And back it up. Okay. All you're gonna do is we just back it up, okay? That's it. Back it up. That's right. Back it up. Yep. Just back it up. No. Just back it up.
With your PlayStation 4, you can do it to there or to like a USB drive and stuff that. Hopefully they do that with the PlayStation 5. It would be nice to see them add the ability to back up your data, your saved data, to a USB drive. But again, something that can be patched at a later date. I do like this feature here, the game presets. It is nice. So, of course, they do give you the we'll just call it the Surgeon General warning on the side of the box, where not all games, I guess their assumption is that it's on a developer's decision. They leave that decision to the developers, where some games may not support this feature. My assumption it's mostly going to be PS4 games, to be honest with you. But there is this where you can go into your settings within the console and set what defaults you want for your games. That way you don't have to go into constantly fidgeting with options, going through the options. You can just jump into the game as quickly as you want. So, difficulty, you can set it on the easiest if you just really want to focus on storyline, or if you're a masochist, you can go to the hardest setting by default on there. The performance mode or resolution mode, what that is it's more if you want to prioritize performance, their game performance, so like getting higher frame rates. My word, that was hard to say. But if you want to get higher frame rates, or within resolution mode where you just want the graphic quality, you want the better graphics, so you want that 4K HDR visual. You don't care about dropping a few frames per second, which mostly single player games totally fine. Multiplayer games, you probably want to go to performance mode. Again, these are for games that support this as well. So, I mean, obviously you can go in and just kind of set what you want, and it will default, or it will apply those settings within the game. I really like this to the first person. So first person, and that what you saw there below, the third person view, you can go in and set your defaults. I'm just one of those guys. I like where I hit up on the thumbpad or the thumbstick, and it goes up. I hit down, it goes down. So I'm a simple guy. I mean, so it's nice that you can kind of go in here and set those. That way you don't have to think, okay, I just got into the game and the controls just feel weird to me. You can just, the system, by setting these, will automatically set those controls to how you like it. That way you can, again, their take on this is just getting you into the game as quickly as possible. That way you're not having to fidget with a ton of options before you actually get to gameplay. And of course, third person view, exact same thing. So it'd be interesting to see. I'm assuming, I wonder if this would take into account like something like Fallout, where you can switch between first and third person view, or if this is just, hey, first person games like Call of Duties and stuff like that, this is how it is. Other games like, I don't know, Mass Effects or some of those third party games, or like Red Dead. I think Red Dead's a third party. Is it bad that I haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2? Definitely on my list. But you can set it, you can set your thumbstick controls for camera movement, how you prefer, without even jumping into the game. Of course, subtitles, audio, you can go ahead and set those whether you want it off, because I know every game seems to be different. They just default the subtitles to on. Others default it to off. Some ask you, some don't. So that way you can kind of go in and just set it. That way you don't have to, worry about all that. Automatic updates, of course. But here, so spoiler warnings. So this is that, like we were talking about earlier, where there was the new feature where you have like tips and tricks and stuff. Like if you're stuck at a certain point, how you get past that point, or little things they little videos and stuff like that kind of show you how to get past. What you can do in here is set it to where, there's two different options, and it's warning about game spoilers. So some of those tips and tricks might have game spoilers or storyline spoilers and stuff like that. If you don't want to know about those, or if you want to be warned about it, or whatever, you can set these in here as well. That way it'll be like, hey, spoilers. So you can set it where only spoilers identified by game developers. So that's on the game developer to say, hey, yeah, this little tip and trick video or how to get past this part, there is a spoiler here. Or you can just set it to everything you haven't seen yet. So I just went ahead and defaulted that because I honestly hate spoilers. Why I never saw the movie Titanic. Somebody told me the boat sank, and sorry, couldn't help myself. And so what we'll do, so you can just kind of set that stuff there, based on how you choose. Obviously, this is just kind of syncing with your PlayStation Network. So if you for some reason had a weird issue where you're offline and then you're back online, you got some trophies, you could sync everything, or even like using the save data where it uploads your save files to PlayStation Network. Then you could always sync that once you get back online, or whatnot. Of course, just notification settings kind of changing. I mean, stuff we've seen within the PS4. It's not really anything new, as far as that. Captures and broadcasts. So kind of some settings here that allow you to kind of change up how, like when you're doing live streams from your console, and just kind of some settings there. And so you can set like video quality, or do some tweaking with audio. So you can include like voice chat audio and stuff like that. This is for camera. I don't have the camera. And so with that, you can kind of, if you have it, you can kind of go in and do all your settings. Kind of a lot of the same stuff. For those of you that have PlayStation VR, when you go in to set up the PlayStation camera for the VR, a lot of the same stuff. Kind of change how or where overlays show up, the positions and stuff like that, and whatnot. And so this is where I had mentioned, when you get the screenshots or the video clips, this is where you can disable those for those of you that just don't want any of those. I left them for one of the games because I thought they were kind of cool. So, but I'll probably disable it at some point here. But you can turn off for the screenshots, as well as the videos. And then if you want the videos, you can set the duration. So between 15 and 30 seconds. That way, for those that do want that. So, but again, to disable the trophies, screenshots, and videos, it's here under the settings, under captures and broadcasts, as well. So that's really pretty much it. I mean, pretty straightforward. Again, to me, the PlayStation 5 UI really feels like just more like a version 2.0, or version 3.0 or whatever with the PS4 interface. So a lot of similarities with the PS4, just kind of visual differences. Really, the major difference for me, and it's taken, I'm still trying to get used to it, is getting to like your trophies and the power and all this, where you have to hit the PlayStation button to get to all of this, as far as that. So really for me, that's been the main thing I've had to get used to. But overall, I don't know. For me, like the PlayStation 3, I was never really a fan of that cross media bar. I don't know many people that were. At least everybody I knew or I know that had a PS3, they weren't a fan of that cross media bar. PlayStation 4 was better. And I at first, when the PlayStation 4 first launched, I honestly wasn't a huge fan of the user interface, but it grew on me over time to where, I wound up towards the end of the life cycle of the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. I wound up using my PS4 way more than my Xbox. And so I really started to grow on me here. To this one, from me, I do like a lot of the tweaks they've made to it. Some of the graphical tweaks are just a little bit more pleasing to my eye. That was almost hard to say. I do like how now the PlayStation Store is a little bit more surface level, so it's not like an app that you had to go into. I don't know if anybody experienced this, but I noticed on my PlayStation 4, and it may just be because I have a, I guess what you call a standard PS4. It's not a Pro, not a Slim. Then I've noticed sometimes the PlayStation Store app would just take a little bit longer than it should to load in, and sometimes even getting out of the PlayStation Store app, I'd hit that PS button and it'd just sit there for a minute, and then would back out to the home screen. I like how the PlayStation Store is a little bit more surface level here, so it just feels like it's just literally part of the main user interface. So it's just a little bit easier to get in and out of there. As well as some of the PlayStation Plus features. Sometimes I felt like with the PS4, some of the PlayStation Plus features were a little bit hidden a little too deep than they needed to be in the user interface. And so with that, I do like how you have a dedicated PlayStation Plus tab that just gives you everything you would ever want or need with your PlayStation Plus, especially with this PS Plus collection, which again seems like it's Sony's attempt to take on Game Pass, which I think they'll, it's new again because it is only on the PlayStation 5, and Microsoft has really been diving hard and deep into the Game Pass for quite a while now, so it is very robust. But I really think I have high hopes for this PS Plus collection as being a good, I guess, answer to Game Pass, and that is at least my hope, is that it really begins to grow and bloom with just more and more games. I will say the one problem I do have about Game Pass, if that is the case with PlayStation, I hope PlayStation doesn't take this approach, and that is a lot of games. It's almost, to me it feels like, and maybe it was just me, it feels like sometimes I'd get on there and there would be a game on Game Pass and it would be like, oh, and now it's leaving. And so hopefully with this, maybe games will stick around. I'm pretty sure indefinitely is not going to be the case, but it'd be nice to see for a long time, because it would really give a nice shot in the arm for those that are paying for PlayStation Plus subscription. So again, that's pretty much it. This is kind of the user interface, kind of my take on it. Just kind of looking on some of the new features there, some of the changes, some of the differences from the PS4 to the PS5. And so I hope you like this video here. Again, be sure to subscribe, hit that subscribe button. And if you like the video, make sure to hit the like video. If you didn't like the video, hey, no harm. Hit the unlike button. Also hit the bell so you're aware of any and all new videos coming out on the channel. I'm going to have some reviews and gameplay footage and stuff of some of the games, especially the Miles Morales. I'm really excited to play that one. I did play through the entirety of Astro's Playroom in pretty much one sitting. I don't know, for those of you that have PSVR, I'm sure you guys know this. If you guys played Astrobot Rescue Mission, I loved that game. It's such a great platformer. And so Astro's Playroom is the same feel, just without the VR. So I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier, and we were talking about that game, and I was telling him I really hope that Sony really takes that Astro's game or the Astro character and kind of develops it into more games, because I definitely would buy a lot more of that. So Again, thanks for watching, and what I'll do, I'll just catch you on the next one.